Hello everyone, in this video we'll create a VBCS application where we'll use the JavaScript to insert the employee data into the ATP table through ORDS REST API. So this is our OCI ATP database. First of all, we'll create the employee table and enable the REST for that table. So under the database actions, I'll click on SQL. So this is the create table script for employee where we have 5 columns which are employee ID, employee name, department, salary and hire date. Now whenever we'll insert the data, then employee ID will be auto populated. So that is why for the employee ID column we have mentioned number generated by default as identity and it will start with 101 and increment by 1. Then employee name will be not null. And for the employee ID column, we are creating the primary key constraint, which is employee underscore pk. Now create this table. So the table employee created. Now I'll refresh to view the employee table. So you can see the table employee, which is currently REST disabled. To enable the REST, I'll click on this and under the REST, I'll choose enable. Then I'll enable required authentication, which means if we want to access the REST endpoint for this table, then we have to provide the database username password for this schema. Now click on enable. So you can see object REST enabled. Now to get the REST endpoint, I'll go to the previous page and under the database actions, I'll choose REST. Here I'll click on auto REST and go down. So you can see the employee table. I'll click on this 3 dot and choose open API view. Now this is the REST API endpoint to access this employee table. We need this endpoint in the VBCS JavaScript to populate the data into the employee table. Now I'll go to VBCS and create our application. So I'll click on the web application and provide the application name as create underscore employee. Then click on the create button. Now in the main-start page, we'll drag the employee fields. So in the employee table, we already saw that the employee ID will be auto-generated. So we need to populate employee name, department, salary and hire date. So for the employee name and department, I will drag input text. So I'll search for input text and drag this here. I'll expand this a little bit. Then again drag one more input text under the grid row. Now for the salary, I'll search for number and drag the input number just below the input text. For the hire date, I'll search with date and drag the input date below input number. So this is our from. Now to create the employee, we need a button. So I'll search for button and drag it below this form. Now if we click on the live, then you can see all the fields. Now we have to provide the name for each field and link the variables. So I'll go to design and for the first field I'll provide the label hint as employee name. For the second field it will be department. Then for the third field I'll write salary and for the date I'll put hire date. Now I'll click on the button from left hand panel and provide the label as submit. I'll go to live and this is our page. Now we'll create 4 variables to store the data that we'll get in the runtime. So I'll go to variables and create our first variable as employee name. The type will be string. Create the second variable department. It will be string as well. Third variable will be salary. The type will be number now. And the last one is hire date. It will be string as well. I'll update the spelling of the employee name and now go to the page designer and link the variables to all the fields. For the employee name, I'll go to data and link the variable employee name. For department, it will be department. For the salary, I'll choose salary. And for the hire date, I'll choose the variable hire underscore date. Now whatever the data we'll put in these fields in the runtime, that will be stored in the corresponding variable. Now you have to pass those values to the REST API in the JavaScript to insert the data into the employee table. So I'll go to live, and whenever we'll click on the submit button, then the employee data will be populated into the ATP table. So for that, we have to create the action chain for the submit button. So I'll go to design and click on the submit button. Now here I'll go to events and click on the drop down of the event listener. Here I'll click on this on OJ action. So you can see the action chain is created for that button. So at the runtime, whenever we'll click on that button, the flow will come to this action chain. So from this action chain, we'll call the JavaScript function, and through that function, we'll pass the employee data into the REST API. So I'll go to the JavaScript and create a function having the ORDS REST API for the employee table, and then we'll call that function from this action chain. So just after the variables, you can see JavaScript. I'll click on that. So this piece of code is created automatically when we created our application. Now I'll explain this code. Now here define is used to create the JavaScript module. Within this define, we have square bracket where we can pass the dependencies. Currently no dependencies are there. Then within the bracket, we can create the variables for those dependencies. Then use strict tells the JavaScript to use strict mode, which helps to catch certain programming mistakes. Then the JavaScript class page module is created. Then returning page module will make the page module class available to VBCS. Now within this class page module, we'll create our function. I'll provide the name of the function as create employee, and it will have 4 parameters to get the employee data, which are employee name, comma department, comma salary, comma hire date. Then I'll use the curly braces for this function. We'll get the values in these parameters from the corresponding variable in the action chain when we'll call this function. Now we need the payload and REST API endpoint to populate the data into the employee table. So I'll go to the REST API page and I'll go down. So under the post, so this is our payload. I'll copy this and paste the payload here, then semicolon. Now I'll right click and click on format document. Now for all the attributes, we have to pass these parameters. So I'll copy employee name, and in the employee name I'll remove the string and paste the employee name. I'll copy the department and paste it in place of string for the department attribute. I'll copy hire date and paste it here. I'll do the same for salary as well. Employee ID is not required as it will be auto populated. So I'll remove this from the payload. Now for the hire date, in the page we'll provide only the date, but in the database we have to populate the time as well, else we'll get error. So for that, I'll concatenate the time with this hire date. So I'll put plus and provide a default time within the quotes. It is 0 hour, 0 minute, 0 second, 0 millisecond, and JDIT for UTC. Now I want to view the payload in the console when we'll run the application. For that, I'll use console.log, and within the bracket, I'll provide payload. Now we'll use the REST API to pass this payload and populate the data into the employee table. So for that, I am using this piece of code where I created a variable response to get the response. Then you have to use this fetch function, and here we have to pass the REST API endpoint. This is the same endpoint that we have this REST API page. Now the method will be post, and in the header it will be content type as application/JSON. Now in the body we have to pass the payload that we have created here, but we have to convert this payload into string. So that is why we are using json.stringify, and within that we are passing the payload. Now before the fetch, we are using await, as we will not get the immediate response. It will take some time to populate the data into the ATP table, and after that we will get the response. So it will be an asynchronous response. But we are getting some error here. The reason is, as we are using await, so before the function create employee, we have to write async, which means asynchronous. So now you can see the error is gone. Now to access the REST API, we have to pass the database credential as well. So for that, I have created a variable credentials where I'm passing the database user admin with the password in the username colon password format. So in place of star, you can put your password. Now we have to encrypt this credential so that no one can read it. So that we are doing using the btoa function, and within that we are passing these credentials and storing the encrypted credentials in the variable encoded credentials. Now I'll go down and provide the encoded credentials just after the headers before the content type as basic authorization. So that is why authorization will be basic, then our encoded credentials. Then after the successful creation of employee, we want to get the response body. So for that, I'll create a variable result where I'll store response.json. It will provide us the response body. And here also we'll use await, as it will take some time to fetch the body from the response. After that, we'll print this response body in the console. For that, we'll put console.log, and within that, I'll write result. I'll also provide an alert as employee created successfully. Now we should provide this alert when the employee creation is successful, but we may also get any error. So for the error, I'll use a try catch block. So I'll go up, and in the beginning, I'll mention a try, which will close at the bottom after this alert. Now after the response, I'll write the cases for the error, which is if the response is not okay. That means if we are getting any error, then I am storing the response body in the error result, and I am printing them using console.log. Then I am also throwing new error as employee creation failed with the response.status. And whenever we are getting error, it will start here. So we'll catch that error. So for that, I'll write a catch, and within that I'll put error, and here I'll provide an alert as error. So this error will come from here, which is employee creation failed, then the response status. The catch will be before this curly braces, as this is the curly braces for the function. Now we are ready to call this JavaScript function from the action chain. So I'll go to action chain, and under the general I can see call function. I'll drag this here. Now from the function, I'll choose create employee, and you can see the 4 parameters of the create employee function is there. So I'll link the corresponding variable for each of the parameter. Like for employee name, I'll link employee underscore name. For department, I'll link department. I'll do the same for salary and hired date as well. Now it is done. We are ready to run our application. So I'll run this application. I'll provide all the employee data. So I'll put the employee name, then department, salary, and hired date. Now I'll click on submit. So you can see we are getting the alert that employee created successfully. I'll click on OK. Now if I want to see in the console, I'll right click and choose inspect. Now I'll go to console. I'll provide one more employee and click on submit. You can see employee created successfully, and in the console we are getting the payload that we are passing, and this is the response body that we are getting. Now I'll check some invalid cases, like I'll remove the employee name and try to create the employee. So we are getting employee creation failed and the response status as 400. Now if we check the response body, then we can see the message the request is rejected because it violates a data integrity constraint, which is cannot insert null into admin employee. So it is working fine. Now I'll check the table if the data is successfully populated or not. So I'll query select star from employee. Run this statement, and here you can see we are getting the records that we just populated. Now I'll add one more feature in this page, and which is will not populate the salary manually. Instead, it will be auto-populated based on the department that we provide. For example, if the department is IT, then the salary will be populated as 10,000, and if it is sales, then it will be 15,000. So to implement this, I'll create one more function in the JavaScript. So I'll go to VBCS and click on the JavaScript. I'll go down and here I have created the function getSalary, which is having the parameter department. We'll pass the value in that parameter from the department variable. Now I created one variable salary and then we are using switch cases. Within the switch, we are passing the department. And if the department is IT, then the salary will be 60,000. In case of HR, the salary will be 50,000. Then for finance, the salary is 55,000 and for sales, it will be 45,000. And these are the only four valid departments. For any other department, the salary will be 0. Now at the runtime, when we provide the department, then we want to populate the salary automatically from this function. So for that, I'll go to page designer and I'll click on the field department. Now in the event listener, I'll click on this down arrow. Now we have to choose on value. You can see one action chain is created. So the on value means whenever we'll provide any value or we'll change any value in the department field, then this action chain will be triggered. And in this action chain, we'll call that JavaScript function. So I'll drag the call function and from the function, I'll select getSalary. Now in the getSalary, we have the parameter department where we want to pass the value from the department variable. So I'll select the variable as department and the result will be stored in the salary. Like if we go to the JavaScript again, then we can see in that function we are returning the salary. So whatever the salary value it is deriving, that we are returning and that is stored in this salary variable. So this is the local variable where we'll get the value of the salary from the getSalary function. Now we have to assign this salary in our page variable salary. So for that, I'll drag one assign variable and in that I'll select our page variable salary and the value will get from the function variable salary. You can see under local we will choose salary. So this salary is page variable and this salary is the function variable salary. So basically from the function we are getting the value in the function variable salary that we are assigning in the page variable salary. And once it will be assigned to the page variable, then the salary will be automatically reflected in the page. Now it is done. We'll run the application. I'll provide an employee name and department I'll put as IT. Then once we click on salary, we can see it is automatically populated as 60,000. Now if we change the department as sales, you can see the salary is now populated as 45,000. If I change the department as finance, it is 55,000. If I provide HR, it is 50,000. But if I put some invalid department like admin, the salary value is 0. So it is working fine. Now I'll provide a valid department which is HR and it is 50,000. Now I'll choose a hire date and submit. So you can see employee created successfully. Now I'll check the employee table. So the data is successfully populated in the employee table. So this is it for this video. If you like this video, please hit the like button and share this video within your circle. If you have any doubt or any suggestion, put that in the comment section and do subscribe our channel. Thank you.